Welcome, welcome. This is a juicy episode today. These are some of my favorite topics. Because if you are one of those people that did all the right things, you went to school, you got the grades, you learned your craft, you spent hours perfecting your craft, you've poured your heart and soul into it, you're helping loads of people, and yet you don't feel like you're living your best life. You don't feel that happy, you don't feel that fulfilled, and you're kind of looking around going, is this it? Like, is this what I put all that time and effort into? Yes, I am an upstanding member of the community, I am helping people, but I don't necessarily feel like it's as rewarding as I want it to feel. And these are some of the things that I wish I had known in the beginning of my career, and that's why I want to share them with you now. So, the struggling healer means different things to different people, and it means different things at different stages of your career as well. But fundamentally, it is rooted in some kind of lack and some kind of scarcity. So there's a lack of physical health. There is a lack of energy. There is a lack of, mental and emotional clarity and stability. Maybe there's a lack of time, a lack of connection. So time and connection, I feel like are related. Like, do you have time to connect with your friends and your family? Maybe it's a lack of money. So it might show up in different ways at different times. If you have a lot of time, but you don't have any money to enjoy your time, then you're not essentially free. And on the other hand, if you've got loads of money, but you don't have any energy to enjoy it, my dog is just going mental in her bed. If you've got loads of money, but you don't have any energy to enjoy it, then you're not free. If you're physically healthy, but mentally you're struggling, you're not free. So breaking out of all of these survival loops, all of these struggle loops, is literally the key to freedom. And the struggling healer is such an interesting topic because it covers so many of the common subconscious blocks. And when people say, when you're thinking about your purpose, look in the world and see what are the things that pinch your heart? What are the things that you can see that are wrong and you would like to help bring change to that situation? This is it for me. I see so many healers, massive heart-led people who are pouring their heart and soul into helping other people, trying to run a business, and yet their house is a mess. They never see their family. They're not particularly happy. Usually they're broke. They're trying to swap services just to, experience some luxury and pampering in their lives. And yet they still keep showing up. They still keep giving. They still keep pouring their heart and soul into their work. So that is what I want to change. But this idea of the struggling healer also brings up something else that is super, super important. And that is the question around, if you're a healer, is it a vocation and a calling, or can we make it a profitable career or a profitable business if you are running your own business? And there are commonly held beliefs. I held this belief that, and they're not just you, these go way back. These are cultural, these are ancestral, these are societal, these are not just yours. But there's a commonly held belief that if you have the ability to help somebody, particularly if you can help them heal, then you should be giving your expertise, your knowledge, your skills, your medicine for free. So that in itself is a huge topic, but we will be touching on it later in this episode. And before I carry on to the specific blocks that I want to talk about today, I need to share with you the concept of the moment of threat and the moment of safety. If you imagine that there is one point of consciousness that is you experiencing what your body and your nervous system is experiencing as a threat, that is one moment. And there's another point of consciousness where you are experiencing a moment of safety. So when your body and your nervous system experiences that moment of threat, and it can be anything, we'll go into this in a minute, but when it experiences that moment of threat, all your brain, your body, your nervous system, all it is designed to do is get you in the fastest possible way to that moment of safety. It literally puts blinkers on and it's trying to figure out how to get you to that moment of safety. It's a survival pattern. It's, your brain and body's first and only goal is for you to survive so that the species can survive. So that is why we need to figure out why your body, your nervous system, your brain is perceiving these things as a threat in the first place. And this is why my work is so different. Most people are teaching you the things to do in between the moment of threat and the moment of safety. So I teach you those things also because sometimes in the short term you need them. But fundamentally, what I'm interested in is why on earth does your brain and body see things that are usually quite inert? Why is it seeing them and perceiving them as a threat in the first place? And that is where these subconscious blocks come in. That is what your brain and your body is perceiving as a threat. It's a subconscious block that is held somewhere in your body, somewhere in your energetic field. And of course, they're subconscious, which is why we're not aware of them, because if we were, we would do something about it. So I'm going to share with you 3 of the most common blocks. I have uncovered hundreds and hundreds of these things, hundreds. But I'm just going to share 3 of them with you today so that you can start to get a sense of, oh, that's what my body's reacting to. Okay, so the first one is a fear of not being good enough. So many people carry this. It's just really common. So a fear of not being good enough. This could be your skills aren't good enough, you think you're not experienced enough, you're not knowledgeable enough, your service isn't good enough. And so you are experiencing that moment of threat. Oh my God, I don't think I know enough. I don't think I'm skilled enough. And that ultimately comes from a lack of safety and a lack of trust. So that is what's happening in your system. And it triggers, because it perceives it's a threat, it triggers a whole cascade of events in your nervous system, and let's just say your body. So it results primarily in this case in overworking and overthinking. The reason that you're going to overwork is because you believe you're in the moment of threat, and there are things that you need to do to get to that moment of safety. So you believe that if you write more notes, it'll get you to that moment of safety. You believe if you explain more things to your clients, it'll get you to that moment of safety. If you do more tests, then you can mitigate for more things and it'll get you to that moment of safety quicker. And it leads you to overthinking, because you start thinking, okay, did I say everything I should have in that session? Did I explain everything? Did I write everything down? You start ruminating, you start replaying everything that happened through the day because you're trying to get to that moment of safety. So if you can preempt, what if this happens? What if that happens? Well, if that happens, then this is the plan that I'm going to use. And if that happens, then this is what I'm going to do. And it makes you feel like you're in that moment of safety because you've got some control over it. You've got some plans about what you're going to do in all those eventualities. So it makes you feel safer because you're moving towards the safety, or you feel like you're safe. But you can see over time that is just exhausting. And that is what keeps you in that loop of being stressed and anxious and exhausted and overworking and overthinking. So if you are kind of resonating with any of those words, then this might be an underlying thing for you. So remember, the way that we're going to find things is just by dialing into the clues that we're getting all the time. So if you're feeling things like pressure, everything's urgent, everything needs to be done yesterday, I'm always in a rush, I can never catch up, then usually it's something like this. So every moment of your day will be full. And this also classically is the one that doesn't allow you to switch off and relax, because it's still searching. Are there any threats? How can I get to that safety faster? So remember, these things started likely when you were very, very young, and they're subconscious, which is why it is so important to look for the clues. And you can do a lot of this stuff yourself. Once you have the method and you understand what you're doing, you can uncover so much of this stuff yourself. And then sometimes you'll just come up against, the same brick wall, and you're like, I know there's something there, but I can't just figure it out. That's when we go into the Akashic records. So what I do is I go back and I find the point in time that this pattern was created, so that your body isn't perceiving it as a threat, so that your brain isn't perceiving it as a threat, because we found the original thing, the root cause of why you are reacting in the first place, and we get to heal that. And we get to rewrite it through your energy bodies. So there's just nothing in you to react to anymore, which is why this is root cause stuff. I'm not teaching you how to manage. I'm figuring out why you're doing this in the first place. So the second one, doing what you want to do makes you a bad person. So prioritizing yourself in any way, but prioritizing yourself first, feels really uncomfortable. So prioritizing yourself and doing what you want to do is being perceived by your body and your energy field as a moment of threat. There's got to be something deeper to that, right? And you believe that if you do what other people want, and if you put other people first, you'll get to that moment of safety. So this ultimately comes from some kind of unmet needs in childhood. And I'm not talking about, incredible neglect or anything like that. These are usually really small, innocuous, innocent events that your body took an impression of at the time, and you develop these subconscious programs off the back of them. Often, when we get to the root of it, people will go, wow, that's mad. It's not usually anything, really untoward. So let's say that you are really tired. It's the end of a day. You've had a long day. You've been working hard and you're really tired. You really want to go home. You really want to clock off. But somebody contacts you and says that they want to see you or they want to book in with you. You know that you're tired and you want to clock off, but this subconscious programming means that you cannot say no. Logically, you know that you should invite them to come at a different time when you are 100% awake, energized, fully tapped into your medicine, where you can give them the best service. You know that that is the logical thing to do. But in that moment, you are perceiving if you say no to this person and you put yourself and your priorities first, that is a threat. And the way to get to that moment of safety is to say, yes, I will see you now, even though I've had a long day, even though I'm absolutely knackered, even though I'm probably not going to give you the best service that I can. I'm being triggered into saying yes. So the things that you want to look out for in that scenario is when you have zero energy, zero time, zero space in your day, you're not deriving any pleasure or joy from your work. In fact, it's feeling like an obligation. Maybe you're even resenting it. Then you are stuck in that kind of struggle loop. And then the third one, your worth is related to how hard you work. You believe you are only worthy if you are working really, really hard. So remembering, going back to, that whole, is being a healer a calling or a vocation that we should give away for free? This is its own kind of struggle loop. And again, I could make a whole podcast on this one, but just touching on it. Because you believe you should give your services away for free, you keep your prices as low as you possibly can because you're trying to make your work accessible to as many people as possible. So the only way that you can make that maths work is by the volume of people that you see. So this absolutely subconsciously feeds into this block because you're working probably back-to-back patients, you're working really hard, and it feels safer to your system because your worth is tied to how hard you work. So you feel worthy. It feels safe to be working this hard, but this is how you end up being capped, feeling like you're trapped, going, well, I'm working as many hours as I can. I'm fitting as many people as I can into those hours. I can't see any more people. I can't make any more money. I just feel like I'm trapped in this same cycle. And that is where this whole kind of struggle loop comes from. And I went around and around in this loop for absolutely years. This is another one of those survival patterns. And one of the key things that unlocked this for me was I noticed my judgment of lazy people. So it's very hard to know if your worth is tied to how hard you work. You need a certain level of awareness for that. But I would invite you to just think about how you feel about lazy people. I judged them horrendously. Their work ethic was terrible. I was a much better person. I was superior because look at me, I'm a hard worker. But when I really learned how to use my energy bodies and I really started to work with my emotional body. So instead of just being at the mercy of my emotions, being triggered all over the place, blaming people and judging people, I started to learn how to work with that because your energy bodies are a communication system. So what is my emotional body trying to communicate with me? And I started noticing that I was, judging lazy people. And I thought, okay, what is this teaching me? What am I denying myself? What am I not allowing myself that means I am judging it in someone else? Because if there was nothing there for me, if there was no subconscious programming, no conditioning, no subconscious blocks, if part of me did not believe that was true, I would not feel judgment. I wouldn't be triggered in any way by lazy people. But the fact that I was meant that there was something there for me. So when I looked at it and really looked at it, used it as a mirror, I realized that there is a part of me that is desperate to be lazy. She is desperate to rest. She is desperate to sit on the sofa and do nothing. And I am not allowing her to do that. Why? Because my worth was tied to how hard I worked. So my wish for you in this episode is for you to understand that the era of the struggling, starving healer is over. It is over. Where we are going now, we actually need healers to be in their power, feeling grounded, centered, safe, absolutely loving what they do, leading from their heart. Because can you be of more divine service to more people, having a bigger impact, when you are struggling to find time, when you are showing up tired, when your own health is kind of questionable, when you're living hand to mouth, or when you are full of life, when you're full of passion, all of your base needs are met, and you are just doing this from the pure pleasure and enjoyment of helping people while your own bank account is growing. Because it's much easier to help more people from that place. And it's only these sneaky subconscious programs that are standing in your way. And like I say, once you have the method, it is easy to find them and rewrite them just with simple shifts in your everyday life. And yes, sometimes we're going to need to go into the Akashic records and go all the way back to when it was created, to that point in time that you took that impression into your energy bodies, and that's what you keep reacting to. That is the threat that your system is perceiving in all of these, fairly innocuous situations that we come up against every single day as healers. So if we stop perceiving them as a threat and scrambling around to try and reach that moment of safety, and instead just start unpacking all of this stuff. It's like taking off, every time you rewrite a subconscious program, it is like taking off a layer of heavy armor that you had no idea you were carrying. And we've all done that. We've all been really stressed, really tired, gone on holiday, and then look back and gone, man, I did not realize how stressed I was. I did not realize how tired I actually was until I removed myself from that situation and, got myself back to neutral or normal. And this is the same thing. We have no idea we're carrying this stuff. We have no idea how heavy it is. But once you understand how to find them, it becomes easy. You just start taking it off like layers. And it doesn't have to take a long time. You don't have to swim in the emotional soup. And, like I say, I've uncovered hundreds of these things now. And it gets to become fun. It gets to become light. At this point, it's, for me, like a game of Pac-Man. I'm just, gobbling them up. There is no, there is no, oh my God, I'm going through healing. It's just not like that anymore. In the beginning, some of the bigger ones, it does take a little while to rumble through. But, once you know what you're doing, you know what it feels like, the gold on the other side, you're so willing to go through it. So if you found this episode useful, please screenshot it, share it to your Instagram stories, share it with a friend, because this is the time for healers to be in their power, having the time of their life, their work feels light, and they feel rewarded.